by Albury. 10 teams starting. Bit of a shock just a few minutes ago. It was confirmed that the fastest team in the country this year, LaSalle College, are not starting. These are the teams that are here: Christian Brothers Academy, Arlington, St Fintan, Syosset, Monroe Woodbury, Pensbury. These boys carrying a lot of responsibility on their shoulders in the first legs. Massapequa, Northport, Union Catholic and Collegiate. And of course the skill of running middle distance relays like this is whether or not to regard your leg as a tactical affair, or indeed to run 100% of your capability and go out pretty hard. Dwight, how would you approach it?
Well, I got to tell you, it's pretty daunting to be a high schooler and running in the Millrose Games. Of course, there's meets here almost every day during the winter season, so the kids, most of them are very, very used to running here. We got a great crowd, very enthusiastic. They love their track and field here. But there's a lot of nerves on that line, let me trust you.
For sure. Hardly a seat to be had in here. Crowd of around 4,000 people enjoying proceedings.
On your marks.
So away they go. St Fintan School from Ireland. They're Dublin, by the way. We've only got an estimated time for them, so they're not used to this sort of thing, but they're running partly because David Coughlin made a personal request to have the team accepted into the meet. Well, that's Union Catholic leading at the moment. White vest for them on his first leg. Kenny Evely, the junior, a little bit of pushing and shoving there. Of course, 800 metres indoors is traditionally pretty much a contact sport. Christian Brothers Academy in second place behind Union Catholic, but this is a brilliant run from Kenny Evely, beginning to open up a gap. He's running hard, isn't he? Really put his head down, unconcerned about what's going on behind him. Monroe Woodbury in second place, but still Evely leading. He's the pace setter at the moment and is gradually being strung out almost to single file. Union Catholic, Monroe Woodbury, Christian Brothers Academy, 1, 2, 3, and the gaps are widening.
It's always good to see the pace go out in an honest pace like this to string people out, as you mentioned, because you hate to have that group bunch up. These are some of them somewhat inexperienced, probably. Certainly the nerves are churning there, so if they got bunched up, it's really easy to see guys go down, and it is. It's like roller derby, the 800 indoors, even on a track that's 200 meters long.
Well, Union Catholic now being challenged, and it's Monroe Woodbury who move into the front. It's been a very, very aggressive run from Kenny Evely, but he's got to try and hang on to the back of these two guys in front. It's Monroe Woodbury and Northport out in front now. Northport's Mike Brannigan hanging onto the coattails there of Union Catholic, of Monroe Woodbury rather. And it's Monroe Woodbury's Pat Rooney, senior with a best of 154. He's finding it hard now. The lactic building in those legs. This is only the first of 4 legs, a long, long way to go, but that's great racing so far.
Unfortunately, those passes all pretty clean, no casualties at the line. There's been a bunch of racing going on before we came on at 7 o'clock, and we've seen some pretty tough spills.
Well, 157.3. Looks like there were clean exchanges there, that first passing over of the baton. And it's Monroe Woodbury just losing out there to Northport at the changeover, but no problems. Late time in that first athlete, 157.3. Northport from Monroe Woodbury, Arlington, Christian Brothers, Massapequa, those are the first 5. And now they're closing up, and there's still a lot of racing to come.
Yeah, I noticed they started bunching up after the second lap. This is not nearly as aggressive as the first lap was, and potentially some problems, especially in the exchange. That's where the problem is. A lot of these youngsters don't know to get out of the way of the athletes on the teams that are coming in behind them. And indoors, it's very dicey because you've got only a very limited amount of room. You can easily place your foot in correctly and really have a problem with that curve or stepping off into the infield. So you have to watch for that. That's where the problems have already occurred earlier in the meet.
Dave Hatch leading on the inside there, but now he's being challenged by Massapequa's Dan DeLuna. And Dan DeLuna making a very strong push here towards the end of this second leg. This is very, very clever tactical running. He's eased his way up to the front, and then has kicked hard into that bend. And that's a gap of about 6 or 7 yards now, and that's going to be hard to close. Massapequa, sorry, but Dwight, Massapequa from Arlington and Monroe Woodbury.
And he opened up that gap in about the space of a straightaway, too, and no one had a chance to really cover the move. And look at this move. He goes a little bit wide, and then by the time he's at the end of the straightaway, he's got a nice, easy, comfortable lead. Only one reaction, really good reaction to it in that first straightaway.
Well, 1:54 the time for that second leg. As they head down the back straight now, it's Arlington from Massapequa. That's Tim Latoki for Arlington in the lead. And boy, is he moving now. That gap has ripped open. Back to Massapequa's third leg runner. It's Lawrence Verdilago. And that's beginning to become an unassailable lead.
Different coaches have different strategies about where to put their best runners. Oftentimes they'll put them first to get a nice lead and hope the rest of the team can hang on. Sometimes you want to anchor your best runner, but he may be so far behind that he has to go through so many people and use a lot of energy going wide on these turns. But it looks as though Arlington has got a very strong third leg runner. This is quite a gap he's opened up now. This has got to be 20-25 meters easy.
Well, in fact, they've changed their order. This was meant to be their third leg runner. It was meant to be Tim Latoki. This is Matt Hearing on their third leg, but it's Arlington, Massapequa, Christian Brothers Academy, and Northport. But this is the big move. Massapequa leading, and Arlington, well, they just blew by Massapequa before the changeover. The gap has just grown, and that's a yawning gap now. And Hearing it is, still churning along. Good, strong running. Looking tired now, mind you. Shoulders beginning to roll a little bit from side to side. And in fact, Christian Brothers Academy beginning to close the gap. Was it an unassailable lead or not?
Because we don't know how good the Yankee runner is now. They've really, really shut this thing down.
Oh boy, oh boy. Arlington taking over. And Union Catholic now, I think, in second place. There is a lot of lactic acid going on in the last 100 yards or so of that third leg. Christian Brothers now going well. Yeah, we can take a look at that. The legs, I'll tell you what, all middle distance runners know that feeling. You can hardly lift your knees. That's a desperate deceleration. Really accentuates the speed of the runner. It went past him. Christian Brothers Academy, though it is, from Northport, Union Catholic and Arlington. Well, there's been so many changes of position. You're right, Dwight, when he said that coaches have to think tactically about where they put in their best runners. And that should be Clark Mangini. This final leg for Christian Brothers. Christian Brothers Academy it is. Northport in second place, Union Catholic, then Arlington in third place. And there's still some racing to come, because Northport challenging hard here in this final leg. James Dickinson, this should be for Northport on the final leg. He's their anchor man.
I think that's the best thing that can happen to Christian Brothers, I think, because he puts him in a great position to make that final push and take the lead back on this final 100 meters. Look at him pick it up. He already takes it with a whole lap to go. I don't think that he'll give that lead back.
No, there's a lot of power there, good tactical move, and it's so much better to come into that last couple hundred meters on the shoulder of somebody than to be 1 meter in front of them. Psychologically, having a target, something to really push past is so much easier. And this is a fabulous run from Christian Brothers Academy. Good teamwork from these boys. Christian Brothers Academy coming up to take it then. And they do. 7:49.25. Well, it's possibly a new Millrose record. Needs to be confirmed. But good to see, when you think about it, over almost 2 miles of racing, coming down to just a matter of a few meters. And every one of these lads has run himself out completely.
Well, it turns out being Mike McClemens, who was originally their second runner, but they moved him to anchor. And I have to tell you, he gave a clinic right here on how to run a smart relay anchor. He let his challenger go by. I didn't think he looked nearly as good, but he thought he could go. And then he just measured it. He gets right up on his shoulder. He can see what we can see. He can see those shoulders starting to move. He knows that he doesn't have it. And right here at the bell, he just goes by with authority, which just breaks the other runner psychologically. Smart bit of running, well-coached athlete.
And that was it, pretty much. 4-metre lead with 100 yards to go, and he comes home probably about 10 metres in front. Relatively comfortable victory, as it turned out. And a chance to check that final result. 7:49.23 by Christian Brothers Academy. Good win from Northport and Arlington. That boys 4x800 metres for high schoolers. Athletics is not supposed to be teamwork, but it's great to be able to celebrate with your teammates in these relays.